Oh yeah, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
That's good. Thank you for doing this.
It's all right. It's my pleasure.
I've been feeling very left out. It,
Karen's been uh, basically talking about it incessantly, probably.
yeah, she has. And when I was around there, her and Russ, they were like on their phones. Yeah, yeah. What's yours doing? What's up? What's down? And I was like, what the hell? And then they were like, oh yeah, we've got this going on, and yeah. I just was like, when you feel like you've really missed out on a trick.
Well, I did tell you about it at Christmas.
No, I know you did. And I suppose I thought when Karen does it, I'll do it. But she sort of went ahead and did it. She did send me the link, but it was only when I was there and the two of them were like, yeah, what about this? Yeah. And is yours up? And cyborg and blah. And I was like, hello. And other people felt the same. And then Karen said, well, I was surprised Russ has gone quite big. But Karen said, oh no, you're like telling them, their advisor.
No, I'm not their advisor. I mean, to be absolutely honest with you, I knew something was coming back in 2010, 2011, but I didn't know how it was going to manifest itself. Although the guy who basically wrote the first book that included Bitcoin, a guy called Simon Dixon, I actually went to his book launch in 2010 in London.
Really? God, that's weird, isn't it?
So, he's still very much involved. One of the early adopters, but he's more involved in companies that are actually building platforms within the infrastructure of Bitcoin and blockchain. So, but I knew things were going to happen. I didn't know quite how it was going to take place, and it was just a bit of luck, really, that I sort of. Someone introduced me in 2018, but I did nothing. But at least I got a couple of wallets set up and a little bit of money put in there because he didn't have any pounds. He didn't have any pounds, so he said, "Do you want some Bitcoin or do you want some cryptocurrency?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what to do with it or anything. So, but let's set it up, and at least then I've got something and I can give it a go." And now he gave me £100 of Bitcoin, £100 of Ether, and the Ether's now worth 2,000, and the Bitcoin's worth 3,000.
God.
So
there we have it.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I. And then of course in October I had a bit of spare money for my mum's estate, so I thought, well, this little bit that's left, I'll just chuck it in and see what happens, and it went quite well. Hiya. You all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
That's all right.
You missed anything?
You're on mute, Karen.
Karen, you're on mute. Haha.
I'm not now.
No.
There you are.
My lip reading's a bit patchy, so good if you come off mute. So is anyone else joining us?
Well, I think Kim's trying to, but she said she had the app downloaded on her phone and she got rid of it and now she can't download it again. And I said, well, just try and tap on the link because you don't need the app, I didn't think.
No, I don't think so.
You don't need it, I don't think. I don't know.
So she's the only one that I think is trying to get on, but Derek sends his apologies and so does Russ because they're out.
Okay.
Oh my God, have you seen the snow, girls? And I'm changing the subject. It's so thick.
It's dying off here now, though, so it won't last long.
Oh, okay.
Don't panic. Is it snowing in Watford, Chris?
Not at the moment. It was earlier.
It was lovely earlier.
And I got 2 loads of washing dry.
No, I mean the snow was lovely. I was out in the snow. It was gorgeous. Can you see it?
Yeah, that'll pass in a minute.
Yeah, it's on the shed roof if you can see that.
Nice and light, nice and fine. I was walking in it.
No, I just had a tea with all my lodgers and all the family. It's been lovely. don't often
Good.
get us all together. Yeah,
Good.
good. Do I need a pencil?
Oh, can you hold on? I'll just ask Kim if she can get on it.
Nope. I've got the camera in the way.
Any luck?
Karen or Janine, did you get an email from me, as in from Misa?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope it read okay.
She's typing.
I haven't read it yet though.
I have.
Oh,
It did read fine.
okay,
yeah.
good. Thanks.
Yeah, good. Well done.
Thanks, honey.
Right. I'll just start. Oh, hang on. What'd she say? No, it's not having it. She said, Kaza, can tell me all about it.
Well, I'm recording it. I'm recording it, so you can send her the link when I've done it.
Oh dear,
Oh,
I'm
you can. I was
eating.
going to say.
well
I
done,
have
Liv.
to behave myself.
That's a good idea.
I thought I'd reserve saying anything until Kaz had embarrassed herself, but she hasn't done it.
You didn't have to wait long.
I was going to say, that won't take long.
Okay,
you can
right.
put the recording on the group, Chris, because they're all on it.
All right. Okay. Well, what I'll say is that what I'm gonna cover here is a little presentation I did that I wrote the other day for another thing I did, and I'm going to be talking about the state of the existing money supply and why this is happening, right? Why this is happening and why it's happening right now, and then I'll talk about the framework of cryptocurrency and kind of what it offers us as opposed to sticking.
So I've got the camera in it. There you go.
Sticking with what we've got at the moment, which is kind of broken. So that's what I'm going to go through. All right. So here we go. Let's see if I can share my screen. Move this
Oh,
out.
fancy. That's me.
Down.
It's a bit flash.
Very.
Okay. So can you see
Yeah,
that?
we can see it.
Yeah.
we can
Okay,
see it.
fine. Okay, so here's a quick introduction into cryptocurrencies. Basically, what we have right now are two particular industries which have not really gone through any kind of evolution or revolution. One is the financial markets, except for, digitizing the trading floors, like the stock exchanges. Basically, finance itself has not really, the basic behind the scenes infrastructure has not really changed much. It still takes 2 to 3 days to clear financial transactions because of the antiquated way in which different banks need to be involved to do different roles. So it's not, and I don't know whether you heard about Robin Hood, which is an exchange, basically a trading exchange that kind of, it had to go offline, and basically the price of a particular stock was going through the roof. They couldn't deal with the demand, and they actually ended up shutting down the exchange from that particular stock. And the reason was nothing to do with the fact that they were trying to get out of doing something and that people had kind of won a battle against the financial institutions. It was that they couldn't keep up, basically. That was the problem. And so there is a real need for change. The other one is law. And although cryptocurrencies aren't specifically to do with law, the technology that underpins it is called blockchain. Blockchain has got can deploy things called smart contracts, and smart contracts basically means that you don't need, for something to be registered and legalized, you don't need lawyers involved in that. So if you were doing a house sale, for example, there will come a time where it just goes onto the blockchain and it becomes a secured contract without the need for lawyers to get involved, which I think is going to be a good thing because it'll save us a load of money.
Wow, that would be, wouldn't
So
it?
what else is antiquated? Well, politics is antiquated. Governance in terms of councils and stuff like this, and how we organise ourselves in terms of our social community activities, all of this is ripe for a revolution in the way that it's managed, in the way that it's put out there. So what we've got at the moment, I think, is quite a, if you take a charity, for example, there are so many charities that are set up as charities where people are basically legalized to beg for money. And what happens is that people get paid by that charity. So what you're getting is you're getting people collecting money under the guise of a charity and then paying themselves in a non-profit organization, which I don't actually call a charity. I call that a legalized begging business, basically. It's not really right, but it's what we have. And I think the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, which is spearheading that, is absolutely a technology which is going to revolutionize what we're doing. So let me just take you through the basics of money. Most people think that money is what they've got in their bank, but it isn't actually. What you've got in physical cash in your wallet or in your purse, gold, silver, other precious metals, that's physical money. That's money that you can take out and is worth something, right? Other things, like what we've got in our bank, is actually all created through debt. And the money supply itself grows through the through the bank creating debt. So if you think of people borrowing money to buy a house, the banks will increase the money supply every time they loan out money. In a country like ours, there's only 3% of the actual money that's in circulation, the actual real physical cash. It's only 3% of money, 3% of the money that we actually use. The rest is created by banks. Now, not a lot of people know this. They think that the government maybe makes the money, but where does money come from? Well, government prints 3% of the money, and they then sell that money to the banks at huge profit. They what does it cost to print a £10 note? It costs pennies, right? So what they do is they then sell that money to the banks. The reason why the banks charge us for taking money out, et cetera, is because it costs them money to get it in. They've got to pay security. They've got to pay the Bank of England for the money, or the mint for the money. And the government take the profit they make, and they're supposed to put it into the money system, and that alleviates us paying so much tax, allegedly. And it's not very much anyway. It's only 3%, right? So it's not exactly a massive contribution, but that is how that works. And all other money is produced by the banks through creating debt, which means if the banks aren't creating debt, then they're not making profits, but they have to create debt. So when you get a country which is in recession, the problem is when you're in recession is that no one wants to borrow any money, and consequently, the money supply is shrinking, which is obviously bad for the economy, because if the money supply is shrinking, people haven't got enough money, they can't spend it, and if they can't spend it, then it can't keep the economy buoyant, right? So the problem is fractional reserve banking has got out of control. It was basically deregulated when Margaret Thatcher came in her tenure. And when she basically deregulated the banks, it basically let the cat out of the bag. And since then, the banks have been absolutely making hay while the sun shines. The trouble is the winter's just about to arrive and the sun has gone in, right? So other forms of money are things like gilts, bonds and treasuries. And these things are generally debt raised by the government, sold to the out into the stock exchange in return for money that they then spend. And basically it's government debt. It's well respected, it's treated like money because it's backed by the country, Bank of England and the government. All right, so they're the three main types of money. There are others, there's about 12 in total, but they're the main ones. Now, the problems with money, all right, existing money, we don't actually own it. It's not well known, but when you put your money into the bank, you actually give the money to the bank. It's the bank's. It's not yours anymore, it's the bank's. And they become the custodians as well of your money. And what happens is that they go and do whatever they want with it, and they keep all the profits from whatever they do with that money. So it's not really a very fair system. They pay us, we have to pay them to basically look after it. They then go off and make money with it, and then they keep all the proceeds. Well, you know, there must be a better system than that works a little bit better for us than this one. Right? The other thing is that others control it. I don't know whether you've had this problem, but I definitely have, where the banks say, we're stopping your account because we're not sure what's going on. And we want you to prove who you are and what you're doing. And then if we're happy with your answers, we'll let you back to your money again. Well, to be absolutely truthful, I don't like that. I think that the money should be mine and I should be able to tell the bank what I want done with it, not the other way around. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. And the other thing is that quantitative easing, which is what we're basically with all this money printing that's going on, most people remember inflation as when the prices of everything was going up. So if you go back to the 80s, you know, we were involved in like 10%, 10%, 12% inflation rates, right? And what we've got now is we haven't got inflation, because inflation isn't possible at the moment because of interest rates being so low. But inflation does exist. What they're doing is they're printing money, which in effect inflates our money away. So if we started off with £100 and then they printed another £100, we've now got £200 that used to be 100. So they've halved the value of the pound, right? Which is inflation, because you basically need twice as much money to buy the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's the other way around, right? So when they say there's no inflation, they're talking complete rubbish, because there's loads of inflation. And and at the beginning of last year, the current value of $1 from the beginning of last year is now 80 cents, right? Because they printed trillions of dollars, right? It's like, you won't believe it. It's basically our money, just leaving it in the bank or leaving it at the low interest rates we've got in the bank or in an investment, we're losing money every year. Because the cost of money, the money is being actually inflated, which means our money's not worth as much. So the monetary policies that we used to have, right, I'll talk a bit more about this in a minute, but the monetary policy we used to have was basically the government could raise interest rates. What raising interest rates did was it helped us to save, because we got more money back, right? It basically meant that raising interest rates, it basically stifled investment. So it was it contracted the economy. If we weren't spending, we were putting it in the bank, then basically the economy was cooling down because we weren't spending as much. Right? Inflation was another one. If they raised the inflation rates, that's another mechanism for controlling the economy. And government spending, of course, if there's not enough stuff going on in the economy, the old Keynesian economics was, if the economy itself isn't capable of generating the amount of economic activity, then the government could build roads, houses, hospitals, schools, and it could spend that money into the economy, therefore giving people money, and those people will go out and spend that money and they'll roll through the economy, right? So these are the types of controls that the government's had, but they haven't got them anymore because the whole thing's broken, all right? And I'll talk about that now. So why is the monetary system broken down? Well, it's the debt model that we have, it doesn't work, right? It never worked, right? It's got out of control now, and that's why it's manifesting itself in the way it is. Basically, the global debts that are existing now they can't be paid off. There's basically no way that the debts are going to be paid. Every single country owes millions and billions of dollars, and no one can pay anybody off. So I don't know how many. Probably I think it's something like 1.7 to $2 trillion that China owes in American Treasury bonds. Right? They own all this money. Right? They're never going to get repaid. They're never going. The government of America can never repay those Treasury bond debt bills. So we're in this situation. We're at the end game. We're at the end game where, as soon as people start defaulting, it happens like 2008 does again. We get into the situation where people start to worry that the money they've got in the bank isn't going to be there when they go back to get it, and they're right. It isn't going to be, right? And this is probably going to get worse and worse for the next 3 to 5 years, which is why we need to do something now. So the debt model is broken. The old idea of Keynesian economics, where you could use interest rates, inflation, and public spending to manage and control the economy, work. We're in a very interesting situation now. We've got zero inflation, and we've got zero interest, and the government's printing more money. And it doesn't matter whether they spend that money or not. It's not going to fix the problem that we've got. And all that this pandemic has done is make it worse, because it's basically slowed the economy right down to the point where it's probably very unlikely that we can restart it at the levels we need to get anywhere near where we used to be. Also, transaction times, I mentioned this earlier, for all the old financial systems are way too slow and they're expensive. The whole system is just tired, and it needs to be replaced with something modern, which is what is actually happening. Whether you know about it or not is another thing, but it is actually happening. So we've patched our systems up for years, and I don't know whether you can relate to this, but you know a browser, and over time the browser starts getting slower and slower and slower. The biggest example of this is Microsoft's old browser, the Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
It got so clumsy because it kept getting hacked, and they kept putting patches in, and in the end, the whole thing was just such a network of patches. Patches didn't work with other patches. The whole thing broke down and it collapsed in the end. Well, we're at this point with the financial systems, right? It's just been patched to death for years. And I heard a statistic, right, yesterday or the day before. People complain about cryptocurrency and they say it's basically a little bit of a scam, and actually it's a money laundering thing. And then you hear these rumors. It's all rubbish, by the way, but you'll hear these rumors. And they'll say it's unsafe and everything else. Do you know, it's only 1% of financial crime is performed within cryptocurrencies, 1%, which means 99% is within the traditional systems. Now, they're moaning that there's all this crime in cryptocurrency, yet 99% of the financial fraud is in their own system. It's a bit like, take the speck out of your own eye before you start having a go at these other people, right? It's just not as bad as they think it is, right? And the reason they do saying it's bad is because they want to protect their own industry for as long as possible, because it was good while the sun was out, and now the sun's going in. They're not very happy about it. So if we had a blank sheet of paper, bearing in mind what I've just said, right, what do we really need going forward, right? Now, for you and I, and for other people, I think we'd like to be able to manage and spend our own money as we see fit. I think that'd be a good thing, right? Not having to be told by the bank what we can and we can't do, but we would like to have our own money that we can look after. There is a responsibility with that. If you lose the keys to it, then you lose the keys to your money. It's like having your own bank. We like to have for it to be inflation proof. So it doesn't matter what the government's doing, printing money. Our money is safe and it's against inflation. Right? That'd be a good thing, wouldn't it? That if we put £100 away, when we went back, we had £100, not 95, because the government decided to print away the money. Right. So we like the same thing that we had back in our hands later. We like to be able to save, invest, borrow, lend, all under our own control. We don't want people doing it for us. We're not idiots. We could do this for ourselves, all right? And it's very, very simple to do. And a decentralized operation so that we don't have one group of people with all this power, which we have at the moment. The banks like in charge. The banks are in charge of the government because they pull the strings. They pull the financial strings. I think it was Rothschild who said, I don't give a monkeys who runs the country as long as I run the money supply. It's the money supply that controls the country, not the people who we think are in charge. They're just there for show and for us to have a go at. Right, so the government and the financial sector, all right, what do they want? Well, they'd like a continuance and a smooth transition to a new system which avoids a financial meltdown. In actual fact, that would be a good thing. That would be good for us too. We don't want the whole money to disappear and be a complete meltdown. What they want is an enhanced ability to control and manage. Now, at the moment, they don't have interest rates, they don't have inflation, and they don't have government spending. So they've lost control of their ability to manage the economy. What they'd like is that control back. And what they'd also like is to retain the advantageous financial monopoly that they have now. All right, so that's what the governments and finance sector want. All right, unfortunately, they can't have all of that, but that's what they'd like. Okay, so let's think about a future that could work for them and for us, right, as best as possible. Cryptocurrencies are no longer an experiment. In fact, when I did these slides, it represented $1.5 trillion. It's now $2 trillion, right? So it's already increased by another $500 billion in terms of its market cap. The expertise in this industry has been building since 2010 till now. So there are a huge number of people who, in comparison to back then, who now understand this market much better and are able to build something special. Institutions are now adopting and accepting that this is going to go away. They like to regulate it, but they know it's now not going away. People like JP Morgan, massive organization in a bank in the States, people like, massive investment companies, hedge funds, they're all now investing and buying Bitcoin because they recognize it's a store of value. So this isn't going away. Literally over the next 5 years, I expect that 1.5 trillion to reach at least 10 trillion. Right? It's not going away. It's just going to get huge. How do the governments manage the fiscal nature of the country if we're all going outside of their system? Well, the answer is we can't all go outside their system and we all need to interact with it. In England, we're going to need to spend pounds. They're just not going to be in a purse. They're going to be in a digital wallet. And CBDC stands for Central Banking Digital Currency. And basically, what will happen is that the government, will issue digital wallets. And they'll you'll download a digital wallet onto your phone. And what they'll effectively be doing is cutting the banks out of the bit where who's in charge of your wallet, right? Because they're issuing it. So they're having direct management, if you like, with you, the customer, the individual. Whereas at the moment, that relationship is the government with the banks and the banks with us, right? So it's going to change. What's going to happen is the government are going to issue wallets, central banking digital currency. We're going to interact with their wallets. But what is going to happen is that other organizations are going to offer financial services which are delivered into your wallet. This is how it's going to happen. So if you're going to want insurance or you're going to want financial advice or you're going to lend or you want to borrow or whatever, if you're using central banking digital currency, pounds, as it were, and it's in the system, you'll be using their wallet. Right now, why would they want to do that? Well, the first thing is they've got direct control. For example, if you want benefits, you're going to have to download their wallet. Otherwise, you won't get your benefits. What they can also roll into that is, well, if you want benefits, then you're going to have to download our wallet, and you might as well have a vaccine. Right? And you might as well have this other thing we want you to do, and the other thing we want you to do. And what will ultimately they'll be able to do is they'll be able to also run AI and automated artificial intelligence programs to say, right, we want to stimulate the economy. We want to increase spending in the economy. So what we'll do is we'll run a program that tells us all the people who are spending $1,000 a month or £1,000 a month.
You let him out.
And have got very little money in their wallet, right? So if we give all of those people £1,000, what are they going to do? They're going to go out and spend it. So what they can do is they can directly influence spending by targeting these central banking digital currency wallets with the people who most likely to spend the money, and they can basically give money away because they know what's going to happen. It's going to enter the economy. At the moment, they give it to companies, they give it to banks, and what do the banks do? They make more profit for themselves with it. So actually, very little of it enters the economy, but this way it gives the government far better control over the public money and how it's spent. And the other thing that's happened, of course, is that we've had this pandemic reset. It's a very convenient time when everyone's like saved a bit of money, maybe, or they're basically at home and they're not. We've basically got a lull in the economy, and it's a very convenient time to implement this because people are desperate and they will download wallets and they will take free money, but that comes with a price. And we will give away more of our freedoms depending on how much we rely on this. So the only negative, though, with cryptocurrency, with the type of currency that we're talking about here, Bitcoin and other thing, the only negative for the traditional markets is they don't have any control over it. They can't control it. They can control their central banking digital currency. They can control all of that. But if you've got money outside that system, they can't control it. It's your money. You do what you want with it. You can spend it where you want to, etc., etc. But, for example, if central banking digital currency came in, you had their wallet and you went to buy an air ticket and they decided that you needed to stay in the country, they could stop you buying an air ticket. But if you had cryptocurrency, you could just go and buy an air ticket, no problem whatsoever. So it's quite tricky, this, but it's coming. Whether we like it or not, it's coming. So I'm going to talk about two different coins. You may have heard of Bitcoin, you may have heard of Ether. I'm going to talk about both of these because they're not the same. Bitcoin is there's a limited supply of Bitcoin. There's only ever going to be 21 million of them. And in reality, that's only going to be 18 because 3 million have already been lost. Right? They've been lost because back in the day, one Bitcoin was like 50 cents or not even $1. And people were saying, people just didn't care about them because it's like, I've just lost $15, it's like, but now that'd be like 15 million pounds. It would be a bit of a different proposition today. But there's a limited supply. Now, when we say there's a limited supply, each Bitcoin is split into 100 million Satoshi. So think pounds and pence, but in Bitcoin language, that's Bitcoin and Satoshi, right? And there's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin. So a Bitcoin can be split up into all these Satoshis. So if you go out and you say, I want £50 worth of Bitcoin, you're going to get a certain number of Satoshis. All right, that's what you're going to be actually having. When you have it, you store it in a wallet. That wallet is your wallet. It's under your control. If you lose the login to get into it, then you've lost your money.
Whoa.
It's your responsibility.
Gosh.
Right? So that's how 3 million got lost. But they got lost when people didn't care because they weren't really very valuable. But they're a lot more valuable now. So it's your responsibility. This is where you take responsibility for your own money, right? There are 12 words that go with your account, and they're in a certain sequence. And you need to make sure you keep those, because that is basically the keys into your bank, your own personal bank. So, so it's your money under your control. And because it's decentralized, no one's in charge of Bitcoin. It just works. There is no authority in power of it, right? There's no control over it. It is what it is. It's your money. It's your wallet. You run it. It's up to you what happens to it.
Chris?
Yeah?
Can I just ask where did it start? I mean, how did it start? Who started it?
Well, they don't actually know that.
Okay.
But
right.
what it is it's an algorithm and it's a methodology that runs on thousands of computers around the world. So think of it as the internet of money. It basically can't be shut down because it just runs on the internet, and these programs run on the internet. It's open source. The code is open source, which means anybody can add to it if they wish, but obviously it needs to be approved. Any changes, there's a group of people that are responsible for the governance of the network of money, which is what this is. It's network of money. And when you do a transaction with Bitcoin, what happens is it gets put into the blockchain, and then 20 different points of what they call it's proof of work points, which are big computers around the world, have to solve algorithms to work out how to once they've solved the algorithm, they can register it in a registry, which is a ledger. And then basically 4 of these have to be completed before it becomes passed as a valid transaction. So it then goes on to be recorded on each ledger around the world. So a copy of it is held on all the ledgers.
Wow.
So this is called the blockchain, right? And actually the blockchain can be used for smart contracts and all other things, as I've said before, because basically it doesn't require human intervention. It just works. And there's no one in charge of it. It just works.
May I ask, Chris, what do you mean by the store of value gold 2.0?
Okay, so if you look at gold, we know gold is a store of value. Okay, we know it's $1,470 at the moment per troy ounce. It's basically people value it, and it's in limited supply. It's not in unlimited supply though. It's in limited supply because you can still mine more gold, right? But it's a store of value. So people want to get their money out of fiat currency, which is traditional like dollars, pounds and stuff. They will buy precious metals so that they know that when they go back to it, it's going to be worth pretty much what they paid for it, or maybe a bit more.
Right.
Bitcoin is in limited supply, absolutely limited. 21 million, that's the most. That's all it's ever going to be. They can't go and mine anymore because there isn't any more. 21 million is a fixed limit. So as it becomes more popular, people put their faith in it, then the price goes up. And as the price goes up, of course, people can store more wealth in that. So one Bitcoin used to be $1. Now one Bitcoin is best part of $60,000.
Oh, shit.
So you can store a lot more wealth with one Bitcoin being $60,000 than you could when it was $1. Because when it was $1, it was $21 million. The current value of the about Bitcoin that's out there is $1.1 trillion. And as Bitcoin goes up in price, of course, it then becomes $10 trillion. It then becomes $100 trillion. So basically, it's a place you can put your money and know that when you sell it, you'll get your money back or maybe more. So that's what I mean by store of value. Plus the fact you can store it on one of these. You can take it with you around the world. No one even knows you've got it on you. But you try taking $1 million worth of gold around with you. You'll be stopped, mugged and killed. Not a very palatable ending, to be honest. And you'll be able to spend your cryptocurrency anywhere in the world. Now, basically, the problem with the reason why Bitcoin is a store of value is because it's actually on a blockchain which is fairly slow. There is no way that all the transactions that are going on things like MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, and any other payment processor, there is no way in this world that we could process all those transactions on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is not the tool to replace money. It is a store of wealth. You don't go into a local grocery with a gold coin, right? So you shouldn't think of Bitcoin as going out to spend money. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it, because people like PayPal have introduced another layer where they interact with the blockchain, one transaction a day, and they deal with all the other transactions with their Bitcoin through their own layer. And then they just aggregate it and summarize it and post one transaction. So there are companies out there who are making it possible to spend Bitcoin, but that wasn't what it was designed for. You'll find that there are other currencies that act more like, are much better at doing that than Bitcoin. And one of those is Ethereum. Now, I'm going to explain what Ethereum is in comparison to blockchain, right? In comparison to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like an amazing internet provider, right? It's a company which is really good, which is an excellent, best in its class. What Ethereum is like an operating system for a computer. So basically, it's like Windows for this money network. So people are now writing applications that work on top of Ether, which allow you to do financial management of your money. So Ethereum is, if you like, the platform on which it takes place. So that is more like the clearing bank, like Windows. Basically, people are writing lending applications that are based on Ethereum. They're writing money exchange services that run on Ethereum. So Ethereum is the layer on which it is all based, and it's a blockchain. And it's moved from proof of work, which is what Bitcoin uses, to basically proof of stake, which is far faster, far quicker, and far more expandable than the Bitcoin one, which is basically just the way it is. So Ethereum, and it's going through Ethereum. I bought my first Ethereum 3 years ago, and it was like £100, about £100 per Ether, or $100. Let's use dollars as an example. Today it's 2,200, 2,100. And because of the nature of what they're doing with Ether, it's very, very probable it will be 10,000.
It has gone up recently, I know.
Yeah, it's 2,120 at the moment. Mm-hmm. And you bought yours for like what, 1,700 or 1,600?
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be 5,000 very soon, like within probably 4 months.
Just leave it where it is, and it'll do its stuff.
Yeah, it does its stuff. Yeah. So basically, this blockchain is a smart contract. So this can be used for legal things. It can be used for house sales. It could be used for proving that you are the owner of something. Because once you've bought it, the contract could go onto the blockchain, and you become the registered keeper, and it's all recorded on the blockchain. So there's no dispute that you're the owner. And if you sell it, that transaction goes on the blockchain so that anybody can see where anything has gone at any point in time. And this is why people saying that the cryptocurrencies is some kind of scam and it's dodgy don't understand it, because everything is recorded. Everything goes in the ledgers. Not anything gets omitted. So it's absolutely more resilient and more secure than having people writing out bits of paper or typing stuff into computers. And we're at the mercy of their ability to do it properly and the computers to still be there, which of course might not be. So it automates the approval, filing and auditing of transactions in public ledgers, which we can all look at. All of this stuff is visible. You can run programs which go in and analyze stuff. So it's all public. And this is taking us into a new world of authenticity and no lying. None of this false nonsense, rubbish stories that are being told. You know, you can't believe what's true or not anymore. But this starts to get to the heart of that problem because it's all recorded. It's an environment. Ethereum is an environment for programmers now to basically, they're working in this space, all right, and they're creating these new applications. And we're not talking about 100 or 200 people here. We're talking about tens of thousands of people in this industry generating the next financial system, which is coming. Now, most people don't even know it's coming, but there's already thousands of people writing this software because the existing systems are breaking. They're breaking down. China has already said it doesn't believe that these debts are going to be repaid. Right now, if China's saying that, isn't going to take long for that to hit the newspapers, and people are going to lose confidence in the existing financial system. And guess what? This stuff's needed immediately. It's all scalable. It's all scalable. There's no limitation to how big this can get, right? I could go out as a programmer, pick up the software that's available on the internet as open source, and I could write my own financial applications. I could write my own digital wallet. I could write my own wallet and say, do you want to use my wallet to store your money in? I could do that. It's possible for me to do that. And what it also does is it paves the way for this thing called the Internet of Things, which is basically where there's a company out there called VE Chain, and what they've developed using a blockchain technology is that anything that moves from anywhere to anywhere can be recorded on a blockchain. So if something was being manufactured in China, the fact that it leaves the building, it gets recorded on the blockchain. The fact that it goes to a port, it goes on the blockchain. The fact that it comes to Rotterdam, it goes on the blockchain. The fact that it gets on a lorry and comes across is on the blockchain. So every single thing that moves will be recorded, and it'll be open source in these public ledgers. All right. So it just means that we can just get rid of a whole load of administration and recording, because everything just gets recorded in the same place in the same way. So whether we like it or not, this is gonna change our lives. And you know, I know that some people will think, oh, not in my lifetime, but unfortunately, yes, in your lifetime. And if people are putting money away in traditional banking systems, traditional financial products, they are going to find a very nasty surprise that either they take it out and do something with it, or it's not going to be there anymore. So it's going to affect everybody. All the people of the baby boom generation that were told, go to work, save hard, put your money in these investment products, and then you'll have a happy retirement, are going to be in for a nasty surprise unless they do something. And they must do something fairly quick. So there's some next steps here. I'll put these into this WhatsApp group, but there's basically a website I put together which is not finished, but it's got some links to some video channels, some YouTube channels where you can learn about what I've been talking about a bit more. And if you're interested in trading, you can go and learn a bit about that as well. And we've also set up a Discord community, which basically is a community of people who are all interested in what we're talking about here. and they're all going to be helping each other to learn more and understand things so that we're well equipped to deal with what's coming.
I'm on it.
And you'll learn about Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain wallets. You'll learn about how to buy different alternative. There's some really interesting things. I mean, at the moment we're in a bit of a cryptocurrency manic period, but like I invested $270 in a thing called Shopping. It's a cryptocurrency called Shopping, right? And there's 8,000 or 9,000 of these things. There's probably 100,000, but the ones that are probably worth looking at, 8,000 of them. And this company, it basically provides a portal to be able to buy things from places like Walmart or big shopping emporiums in the US through the internet. And it basically allows you to spend your cryptocurrency with these companies, right? And it allows you to, like that coin, I bought 25 of them, I think it was, for $270. They're each worth $225 now.
Wow.
Wow, that's big. Sure.
And that happened in 3 months.
Crikey.
So 20 times in 3 months. So what we'll be doing on this channel is sharing also things you might want to look at. And obviously there's technology behind this. You'll need to learn how to use the wallets and all these kinds of things. None of it's hard. It's just once you get your head around it, it's easy. You know, Karen was a bit, scared at the start, but actually when you get into it, it's not difficult. It's just different.
Yeah, it is.
So
I've sent Heather and Kazza again the Swissborg.
okay, so basically what I've said here is you basically set up a wallet. Swissborg's a good one to start with because it's easy to use and it's simple. You go through the KYC process, which is know your customer. You have to put a copy of your passport and you have to do a selfie. And they basically approve your account and who you are. And then once you do that, you can then send money from your bank account to Swissborg. And once you've done that, you're then in the domain of cryptocurrency. And you can then exchange some of your pounds for Bitcoin and Ether. And you're then proud owners of cryptocurrency and welcome to the modern world.
Is that what, so the Swissborg, is that what you're calling a wallet?
Yeah.
Well, Swissborg is an exchange.
Okay.
And an exchange, this particular exchange, is a bridge between traditional banking and the crypto world banking.
Okay.
So you're transferring money from your bank account across the bridge into the crypto world. And basically Swissborg then allows you to, she's disappeared. Anyway, I think it's just the channel's gone. But basically then it allows you to then start changing your pounds into other currencies that are web-based. So that's it.
So do you understand that better now, Kazza?
I do, thank you. I mean, so Chris, if let's say I put some of my pounds into it and then suddenly there's a rainy day and I need to get it back, is it easy to offload?
Yeah, you just withdraw.
You just withdraw, okay.
Yeah, so you basically, there are fees for converting currency from pounds to Ethereum or any other currency. It's not a fortune. Yeah, Swissborg are quite good. They're one of the cheaper ones for doing that conversion. Right? Okay. Once you've done that, it's then going up, and you're then at the mercy of the market for that coin. So at the moment, obviously Bitcoin's going up, but it can go up and down, as Karen's found out. But it's just a different world. You just have to accept things go up and down. But the general trend is over time it goes up. And then if you want to change that back to pounds, you then just go in and say, right, Bitcoin, right, I wanna withdraw. And they said, what do you want to convert it to? Pounds. And then basically it converts it back at the prevailing rate. And then you just basically send your pounds to your bank account.
So in terms of like a medium to long-term investment, because obviously for me, I'm thinking, I would like to do it, but what if I wanted to use it at some point in a few years' time to do, you know, a home improvement, for instance? You know, what sort of period of time, or is it impossible to answer that? You know, what sort of period of time do you need to leave your money in your cryptocurrency, or is that impossible to answer? Maybe
it is quite difficult because, you know, there are in cryptocurrency there are things called bear markets and bull markets, right? Which is it's the terminology for the trading. You know,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now in a bull market, things are going up, and we're in a bull market at the moment, and we're in a bull market which is probably about a third to the halfway through, although they don't really know to be sure. But the two coins that I would say are going to be least affected by these things are Bitcoin and Ether, because they're the oldest.
Okay.
Right? However, that doesn't mean that if it tops out, let's say, for example, that Bitcoin went from where it is today as 60,000 to 250,000. Let's just say it went there, right? It is unlikely to remain at 250,000 during the bear market. So you might say, right, I'm going to cash in half of my Bitcoin back into pounds. Let's say it went from 250,000 back down to 120,000, which is perfectly possible, right? You then secured those pounds at $250,000. So you just need to be aware that it's going to fluctuate, and you need to just keep in this Discord that we've built, because we'll be talking about this stuff and saying, right, it's time to probably cash out a bit now.
I see. Yeah.
But you can convert it to dollars or you can convert it to pounds. It's up to you how. But yeah, so.
And you know how you were talking about, you know, obviously you must have your passwords and all that. Let's say, for example, I wanted to leave, obviously, because I haven't got kids or anything. So I wanted to leave my Bitcoin, or let's say, for instance, to my family who are in South Africa predominantly. You know, how would that work? Or is that not?
You just give them the keys.
To make sure they've got my details.
All you do is you just give them your keys.
Yes, you give them your key. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's what I said to Chris a little while ago. I said, I've got so many bits and pieces in so many different places. I need to write them all down on pieces of paper and put them somewhere safe, because everything's on your phone. A lot of
everything. Yeah, I know.
So I'm going to tell Janine and Chris, for instance, where I'm going to keep that. So they have keys to all my online bankings and crypto and what have you.
In event of emergency or yeah. Okay. No, I mean, honestly, Chris, that does make it seem so much more sort of, you know, palatable in terms of understanding it. And as you've said, we live in an age where there's so much nonsense out there that sometimes you can be, and sometimes we're encouraged to be highly skeptical, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you hear, I mean, I know Karen, and I trust Karen. Karen knows you, and she trusts you, and you know, then you start to think, okay, well, let me like take more time and consider this. But you know, if you're just out there with all the nonsense flying at you, you sometimes do feel very scared, you know.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There are a lot of people out there that are taking people who are new and what we call FOMOing in, fear of missing out.
Okay.
But they're not doing the research, or the research they've got onto the wrong websites and the wrong people, and they start getting, and they send money and they lose it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why if you've got this group as well and you've got any concerns, ask a question, and then someone, or Chris or Otis or someone will answer you.
Yes.
It's a really good idea.
No, I like the support group, the Discord community.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm very impressed, Chris, and it's quite easy for someone who's not a very money or financially minded person to understand. So
you spoke very well. Yes, it was very.
I'm not a
very
finance
good.
person, but I just kind of know why it's broken. I've kind of listened to enough. There's a guy called Sean Dixon who I mentioned earlier, Kazza, when we were just the two of us were on here. If you go to the website, and I'll put the website in the Discord group as well. If you go to the website and you look under the section videos, there is this guy. There's his YouTube channel, and if you go and look at his YouTube channel, he basically talks about the existing money system as a massive, great big Ponzi scheme. It's just a scheme that's been set up to milk people and for a few select individuals to just basically cream off everybody else. It's like a regulated, legalized Ponzi scheme operated by the people we trust to look after us. And they're not. They're just helping themselves. They've got their hands in our back pockets. Helping themselves. So, you know, what we now have is the ability to say, no, I want to look after my own money. I don't trust you people anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to actually manage my own affairs, except for where I'm prepared to be in your system because I have to, because of the way the country runs. But that's it. I don't want to be in that system. And of course, they don't like it, but they can't stop it anymore. Because what we're talking about here with cryptocurrency is a network of people who saying, we've had enough. We've had enough. And we want to look after our own money. Thank you very much. And it's not going to go away. Because why shouldn't we be able to look after our own money?
So when you go on to the Swissborg, I mean, is it secure? How could it ever be that someone steals your money or?
No. Okay, not with Swissborg, right?
No.
So could it be stolen from time? Right, okay, so there are two types of wallets, right? There's custodial wallets, which is what Swissborg is, right? So when you put your money on there, yes, they're like a bank in real terms in that they have access to your fund, right? But what they do is when they initially set up the organization, and this is what I like about cryptocurrency, they say how many coins they're going to have in total, right? So when you buy a Swissborg coin, it's what is it, CBSH or something? Anyway, when you buy one of their own tokens, which is essentially means you're in the network of people that are using their services, it doesn't mean you own the company. It means you can have extra value because you're owning the coins that they issue themselves. So that might be one of the options. At the moment, it's on discount because the price has gone down.
Yeah,
it's
it is. Bloody hell.
$1.20 at the moment, but it was up at $1.89 not so long ago, and it's going to go back there again. So I would recommend you do get some of those. So they have what they set out. They said, right, 20% of these coins are going to go to the people who have built the organization. Another 20% is going to go to the people who were early adopters. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have 50% of the coins are going to be available on the open market for people to buy. And the more of those coins you've got, the more value we're going to give back to you. So for example, if you own, I think it's going to be 2,000 coins or more, then you can basically stake them and get a 5% return on your coins.
Is that the yield?
Right? Sorry?
Is that the
yield? But you get more. I think you get more of a yield. You get 7% or not 5%. You get more yield. If you have $50,000 worth, then you get 20% or 15%. So it's just there's a great. The more you have staked, the better it is. But that's a custodial wallet. So, but they also every time they make a transaction and they make a bit of profit, they put 50% of that away into a fund to basically enable them to basically give anybody that loses any money about anything, give them their money back. So they're actually providing their own insurance for the people that are putting their money with them. Right? And they're doing that every day. And they're doing that because they're sharing the profits, not keeping it all themselves like our banks do, but they're sharing the profits with the people who are trusting them, like you and I. They're sharing it with people who are prepared to put the money in there for a while, and they're building up this insurance fund. Now they're still public. You can go in there and you can analyze this. You can see what they're doing with the money, with the profit they're making, and they're taking some profits for themselves. Well, why not? It's a business, yeah. So that's fair dues, but they're not taking it all. They're not being greedy, right? Like our banks are. So now that's a custodial wallet because they are the custodians of it and they're looking after it. You can also put on your phone a non-custodial wallet. Now, what a non-custodial wallet is it's got these keys I was telling you about. So with these keys, these 12 words, which have to be typed in the right sequence, right? That's the only way, apart from the password to get into the application, the only way you can take control of that wallet is if you know those 12 words.
That's a big
Now,
responsibility.
You can write them down. You know, like I'll show you. I'll not show you the 12 words. That would be a bit absurd. But but I will show you the. Yeah, that'd be hanging a noose around my own neck, wouldn't it? So let me.
Can you go and get my charger, please? There's anyone else in the kitchen?
So,
Yeah, that's why I can see it.
so this is my own
Can you hear
custodial
me?
wallet, right? So this is
Yeah.
We
this is a
can
non-
go.
that's a non-custodial wallet. So it's on my phone and I can see how much money I've got in there. And it's basically nobody else can access that. Nobody. They would have
Unless
to
they know
how-
your 12 words.
Yep, but they'd
Yeah.
have to then install the application and know
No,
my
there's
password
no-
as well.
There's no getting him drunk, Hazza.
And you can't see those 12 words from in here very easily. So you have to know the password to get them. I've got another password. You have to know the password to get those 12 words. So, and I forget it when I'm drunk. But thanks for the offer for the drink. Most welcome. There's one other type of wallet, which is like, where is it? Which is like like one of these. This isn't one, but it will be like it, like a USB drive. And basically you can plug this into a USB socket and you can export your tokens from your private wallet onto one of these. So it's offline entirely. But then again, if you lose this, it's curtains.
Wow, yes.
So,
Wow.
because
So
it's not-
Chris, the question is, if we buy into this literally, and obviously the prices of Ethereum goes up and down, do we just like bite the bullet now? Because you said over the next 5 months it's going to increase anyway. So we just not worry about it on a up or a down, just buy.
Yeah, I
This is
can
the-
vouch for that, Heather.
This is
I
where
can
you
vouch
need
for
to
that.
listen to Karen because she's gone through the
Good for you.
experience of putting the money in and having less than she started with.
Yeah. And I went,
But
Right.
it's not like investing in standard things where you at the end of the year they send you a statement about how badly it's done, right? You know, like I got a statement from my pension saying, oh, you know, here's your statement. You lost £1,000 this year. You know, oh, thank you very much. But I took out 20,000 on there, and within 2 weeks I doubled it.
Oh my God.
So I've now just sent her another message today because it's the new financial year, so I can take it against my next tax year. So I've just taken another 20k out because I'm going to double that as well.
Wow. So would Bitcoin, like any other thing, be liable for
Capital gains.
death duties?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really sorted all that out yet. This is where the
Okay.
regulation comes in. If you buy Bitcoin and the Bitcoin goes up and you leave the Bitcoin there and it's just going up, You don't. It's not. It doesn't accrue any capital gains until you take it out.
Yeah.
That's when you pay
So
tax on it, supposedly.
then you have to pay capital gains on it. Yeah, but you
Who,
don't.
who do you
don't,
pay that to?
The government.
Well, you have to put it on your income tax form.
Oh,
Yeah, not very nice, huh?
but I don't do that because mine's all taxed at the source by the school.
Yeah, but you would have to.
You'd have to have
basically
a
tell them.
self-assessment.
If
Oh.
it was extra income, any extra income over above your employment.
But basically, Kaz, so say for instance, you put in £10,000,
Yeah.
right? And then you started drawing it out. Say you doubled that to 20,000 and you were taking, I don't know, £100 a month or something. You think you don't have to declare it until you've taken back what you put in.
Yeah, but I'm not going to draw £100 a month. I'm going to be drawing, you know, say I decide I want to take out.
I'm just doing it for instance.
Yeah, but what if I wanted to draw out like 10,000 quid?
Well,
Well, then if that's what you put in it, then you don't have to
hang on.
declare it.
Every year you're allowed 12,000 capital gains tax increase without paying tax.
Okay.
So I like your number of 10,000 there. Well done.
Well, I was just trying to give it for instance.
But you're
So
allowed
Chris,
12,000 a year before you pay capital gains tax.
So I've got some premium bonds and I think I've got 30,000 and I think I've over the last 6 months has been £300. So that's not a lot of interest, is it?
No.
What's that? It's 1%?
Yeah, it's not like this.
Yeah, so you might as well sort of take some of that out and have a play.
Yeah, I would, and I would put it, you know, like I would put it, I mean, at the moment, you know, I don't think in this next 6 to 9 months, Bitcoin's going to 6x, 6 times in value. But I think Ethereum is definitely going to go up, and it's less to buy, and it's got good potential. But Swissborg at the moment $1.20 per coin, right? I can't see that being below $2 ever again once it goes above it. I can't see it. So, you know, even at today's prices, it's an 80-cent, almost doubling. And you know, it's just they've got too many good things coming. Yeah. And you've got to remember, this is still in its infancy. Can you imagine when everyone else gets to hear about this, what they're going to do? They're going to all come piling in, and all the early adopters are going to benefit from the new people coming in. Because it's, I mean, really, Karen's done you a massive favour telling you about this, because literally it's just at the start. Yeah. Yes, it's been going for a while, but, you know, I've only been involved in this since October, right? I've only been involved since October. And you know, I've just been a sponge for information. I've just drawn out as much information, watched as much as I could videos, just got so involved with everything because I think it's too important. But we should be teaching this stuff to kids in school. It's that important. We should be teaching people this now because they're going to be dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. You know, we're not going to be giving kids, you know, like presents. We might give them some nice little new coins that have come along, you know, or some NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which might go up in value. You know, like they're going to need to know how to do this stuff, and it's so early days. But great, all the technology and the infrastructure is already in place. If you were involved, if you were introduced to this 3 years ago, you wouldn't have bothered. It would have all been too hard. It's a bit like getting a computer before Windows came along, right? I mean, I bought my own micro computer when I was 18, right? It didn't have an operating system. I had to write something myself, right? And you were saving stuff on floppy disks and tape drives and all this kind of nonsense. Then as soon as Windows came along, everybody had a PC because Windows made it easy. You needed that interface. Well, what's happened in the last 3 years is that this stuff has started to become more accessible and easy to use. Consequently, we're now seeing the scaling up of people getting involved because it's understandable to a certain degree. It's still not easy peasy like it is for some things. However, it's much easier than it used to be. So the adoption curve, we're on the adoption curve and we're starting to go up. Right, but you're at a good time in history right now. I think it's one of the most exciting times to be alive, to be honest.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Karen, and thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you,
You
guys.
speak so well, so clearly. It's amazing. Thank you.
He's always been good at presentations.
Yeah, no, it's
I've been
brilliant.
doing it since I was 24, 23.
Yeah,
Do
no,
you
it's
know,
very good.
Chris, Janine sent you the her Discord.
Yeah, I've sent him an invite into the group already. Dave's already in there. David's already in there.
So where do we get the Discord link?
It's an app you've got to download.
Discord.
Yes,
Yeah,
Discord.
before it was an app.
What's the invite under?
And once you've what I'll do, hang on a second, let me stop sharing this screen.
Chris, Janine said she can't find the invite. Where's she got to go?
In that no, hang on a minute.
Well, she's here, so you can tell her yourself. Mine came up easy peasy.
Yeah, let me just do it. Oh, hang on, no, she's got to accept my friend request.
Where's that come up?
In Discord.
I've got nothing.
She hasn't got anything.
I haven't got anything.
Oh, do you have to what about add friend? Can she add you as a friend?
Yeah. I am
Chris,
IPSL.
I'm going to say goodbye.
Yep.
And I
Welcome.
can't thank you enough. Thank you very much. I've done the Swissborg thing, and I think I'm just waiting for approval.
Okay.
Because I've done my passporty thing. So
Okay, well done.
exciting.
Yeah.
I'll have to let you know when I've invested my first little bit.
Don't
Yeah,
forget to
lovely.
take out your premium bonds, cash them in.
No, I will. Yes, so that's a good idea. Anyway, thank you.
No, you're
All
welcome.
right, catch up with you guys soon.
Yeah, see you
take
later,
care.
Heather.
See you. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
IPS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you're on IPS login, aren't you?